I'm dying alone because I spent 71 years thinking I was better than everyone else. And I was wrong. My name is Margaret. I am 71 years old. I am sitting in a nursing home room on the 3rd floor, in the corner where they put the patients no one visits. The room smells like disinfectant and regret. The walls are beige. There's a single window that overlooks the parking lot. I spend my days watching families arrive to visit other patients, watching them leave with smiles and flowers. My door stays closed. The nurses are professional, kind even, but they don't linger. I hear them whispering in the hallway when they think I'm asleep. She's difficult. She snapped at me again. I feel bad for her, but honestly, she makes it hard. That word has haunted me my entire life. Difficult, abrasive, critical, cold. In exactly 1 hour, it will be visiting hours. The hallway will fill with voices and laughter. My room will stay silent. No one will come. Not my sister, Caroline. Not my former friends. Not my daughter, Anne. Because I spent 71 years pointing out everyone's flaws, correcting their grammar, judging their choices, and wondering why they walked away. I thought honesty was a virtue. I thought being right mattered more than being kind. I thought people respected me. But respect born from fear is just fear. And now I am right alone, and dying with no one to hold my hand. If you are listening to this, and you just corrected someone's grammar in your head, or judged their outfit, or thought, I would never make that mistake, please listen closely. If you want to learn from my scars so you don't have to die surrounded by people who are paid to tolerate you, join this community by subscribing. It's a promise to your future self that you will choose compassion over correction, connection over being right. It started with pride, but not the loud, boastful kind. The quiet, poisonous kind. I was raised in a home where standards weren't just high, they were religion. My mother was a perfectionist who re-ironed my father's shirts if the creases weren't sharp enough. My father was a Presbyterian minister who believed God was in the details and the devil was in mediocrity. Excellence wasn't encouraged, it was demanded. Love was conditional. Approval was earned. I learned early that the world was divided into 2 groups, those who did things correctly and everyone else. And I was determined to be in the first group. By age 10, I was correcting other kids' math homework during recess. By 15, I was pointing out my friends' grammatical errors and gently suggesting better life choices. By 20, I had a reputation on campus. Margaret knows best. Margaret tells it like it is. Margaret doesn't sugarcoat. People said I was brutally honest. I wore it like armor. I didn't realize brutal was the operative word. I didn't realize that every time I said actually or to be honest, I was building a wall brick by brick. I remember the specific moment I should have stopped. The moment that, if I could go back, I would give anything to undo. I was 28. My younger sister, Caroline, was 25. She came to my apartment on a Saturday morning, flushed, nervous, excited. She'd been dating a man for 2 years, a mechanic named Danny. I didn't approve. He didn't have a college degree. He worked with his hands. He wore flannel shirts and had grease under his nails. He laughed too loud. He wasn't our kind of people, as my mother would say. Caroline sat on my couch, twisting her hands, and said, "Maggie, I think Danny's going to propose. He asked Dad for permission last night." I'm so happy I could burst. I looked at her tear-streaked, joyful face, my baby sister glowing with love, and I felt disgust. Not at Danny, at her. For settling. For lowering her standards. For embarrassing the family. I said, calm, measured, happy? Caroline, you can do so much better. He's beneath you. You're settling out of fear of being alone. Don't make a decision you'll regret just because you're scared. Her face crumpled like a paper bag. The light went out of her eyes. She said, barely a whisper, "Can't you just be happy for me? For once?" I said, "I'm being honest. I love you. Someone has to tell you the truth. Would you rather I lie?" She stood up. She didn't yell. She just looked at me with this exhausted, defeated expression and said, "I'd rather you loved me more than you love being right." She walked out. She married Danny 3 months later. I didn't go to the wedding. A matter of principle, I told myself. She'll thank me later when it falls apart. It didn't fall apart. They just celebrated their 43rd anniversary. I know because I saw the photos on Facebook before Caroline blocked me. We didn't speak for 3 years after her wedding. When we finally reconciled at our father's funeral, it was too late. We were polite strangers. We never got back what I destroyed that Saturday morning. But what happened next destroyed everything I thought I knew about love. I got married at 32. To Gerald. A literature professor. Respectable. Intelligent. Socially appropriate. We had one daughter, Anne. I raised her the way I was raised, with high standards and low tolerance for mediocrity. When she brought home a report card with a B, I didn't ask if she was okay or if the class was hard. I asked why it wasn't an A. When she wanted to play soccer, I enrolled her in piano lessons instead because athletes peak at 20, but musicians have careers. When she got into art school, I told her she was wasting her potential, that art was a hobby, not a profession. When she introduced me to her girlfriend, Maya, at 25, I said, "This is a phase. You're confused." It wasn't a phase. It was her life, her identity, her love. And I had just told her I didn't accept it. I told her she was wrong about who she was. She said, "Mom, I'm gay. This isn't up for debate." I said, "I'm your mother. I know you better than you know yourself. You're going through something. We can find you a good therapist." She left that night. She stopped calling. At first, I justified it. She's being dramatic. She'll come around when she matures. But months became years. I sent emails. Formal. Stiff. "I hope you're well. We should talk." She replied with one-word answers. "Fine. Busy. Can't." I told myself she was ungrateful. That I'd sacrificed everything for her. That I was the victim. That honesty was love. I was lying to myself. The gradual loss was a slow amputation I didn't feel because pride is a powerful anesthetic. My sister stopped inviting me to family gatherings after I critiqued her parenting at Thanksgiving dinner, pointing out that her son's table manners were appalling. My book club asked me not to return after I told Martha her analysis of the novel was pedestrian and surface level. My neighbors stopped waving after I left a note on their door about their lawn being an eyesore to the neighborhood. My husband, Gerald, grew quieter each year. We lived like roommates. Polite. Cold. Separate. He died 5 years ago. Massive stroke. At his funeral, a co-worker I'd never met came up to me and said, "He was such a kind, gentle man. You're so lucky you had him." And I realized, I'd never heard anyone describe me that way. Ever. Not once in 71 years had someone called me kind. If this story feels heavy in your chest, please share it. Send it to the family member who tells it like it is, the friend who thinks honesty justifies cruelty, the person who confuses judgment with wisdom. You might save someone who is making the same mistake right now, someone who doesn't realize that being right is the coldest, loneliest comfort on a deathbed. The realization hit me 6 months ago. My phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. It was Anne. First time in 2 years. My heart leapt. I thought finally, she's come to her senses. She's apologizing. She's asking me to be part of her life again. But she wasn't. She said, voice flat, practiced, "Mom, I'm calling because I wanted you to hear this from me and not see it on social media. I'm getting married. To Maya. Next month. You're not invited. I can't have your judgment and disapproval poisoning the happiest day of my life. I'm calling to say goodbye. I hope you find peace. I really do. But I can't keep hurting myself trying to earn your acceptance. Goodbye, Mom." I said, panic rising, "And wait. I'm your mother. You can't." She said, so tired, so done, "No. You're not my mother. You're my critic. You've never just loved me. You've only ever graded me. And I'm tired. I'm 43 years old and I'm still waiting for you to just see me. But you won't. So I'm done waiting. Take care of yourself." She hung up. I sat in my kitchen, gripping the phone so hard my knuckles turned white, and the silence was apocalyptic. I'd spent 71 years thinking I was helping people by pointing out their flaws. That I was doing them a favor. That truth mattered more than feelings. But I hadn't helped anyone. I just pushed them away with 1,000 tiny cuts disguised as honesty. And now, the doctors tell me my heart is failing. Not poetically. Literally. Congestive heart failure. Weeks, maybe days. And I am alone. Not because people abandoned me. Because I made it unbearable to stay. If I had only 1 hour left. And I do. Visiting hours start at 3 p.m. It's 2:15 now. I know no one will come. But I'm going to do something I've never done in 71 years. I'm going to write apology letters. Not emails. Real letters. Handwritten. On paper. The kind you can hold. To Caroline, I'm sorry I missed your wedding. I'm sorry I told you Danny wasn't good enough. The truth is, I wasn't good enough. Not for your love, your trust, your joy. You were never beneath anyone. I was beneath you in all the ways that mattered. Kindness, grace, unconditional love. I hope your life has been beautiful. I hope Danny makes you laugh every day. You deserved better than me. To And, I'm sorry I graded you instead of seeing you. I'm sorry I made my approval conditional on you being someone you weren't. You were never broken. You were never confused. You were always exactly who you were supposed to be. I was the one who was broken. I was so afraid of being wrong that I made you feel wrong for existing. I love you. I always did. I just didn't know how to say it without also telling you how to be better. There was nothing to fix. You are enough. You always were. I'm sorry I never said that. To Gerald, I'm sorry I turned our marriage into a courtroom where I was judge, jury, and executioner. You deserved warmth. I gave you winters. You deserved a partner. I gave you a critic. I hope wherever you are now, someone is kind to you the way I never learned to be. I will leave these letters with Nurse Patricia. I'll ask her to mail them. I don't expect replies. I don't deserve them. But they need to be written. Not for forgiveness. Just for truth. I will spend my final hour not as Margaret the critic, but as Maggie. Just Maggie. Flawed, wrong, humbled, and finally learning that love is not correction. My friend, you who are listening, ask yourself right now, am I correcting or connecting? Every time you say actually or to be honest, you're choosing being right over being loved. And I promise you, being right is the coldest trophy you'll ever hold. Now, I ask you, if you had only 1 hour left, who would you apologize to? What judgment would you take back? What criticism do you wish you'd swallowed? Tell me in the comments. Let's make this comment section a library of truth. Write the name. Write what you'd say. And then please send it. Today. Don't wait until you're 71 and alone. The clock says 2:58. Visiting hours in 2 minutes. The hallway is filling with voices. Footsteps. Laughter. My door stays closed. I'm not surprised. Not anymore. But I'm not bitter. Just sorry. Finally, devastatingly sorry. Goodbye. And please, be kind. Choose kind.